Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks for joining me. It's Tuesday, so it's time for our usual little crafty catch up. So I hope you've got a brew ready, maybe a cheeky snack. Depends what time of day it is with you, doesn't it? Depends where you are in the world. I still think that's exciting. It's so lovely that so many of you join us from all over. Such a lovely crafty community on here. I must thank you for that. And thank you for the new subscribers. So exciting recently. I've had so many new subscribers. Honestly, makes my day. Today, I thought we'd come in and have a bit of a play with the gel press. I do get lots and lots of emails and messages from ladies and gentlemen just asking me a few little hints and tips, and can we just do another card using the gel press? And also, can we use some of the older stamps? So I listen to everything you say, and that's what we're going to do today. So this is my offering. It's got the usual traits. We're going to do some stenciling corner to corner. You know, that's a bit of a thing of mine. But if you look, we're going to be creating this background on the gel press. And we're just going to be using 2 colours of ink, but we're going to be adding a little bit of stenciling just in the background. And it's almost a way of building up layers. Now, obviously, this topper here is flat, but we want to make it look as though we've actually created this gel press as a topper and fixed it on. I mean, you could actually, if you wanted, mask this off and make the whole thing flat. So that's what we're going to do. If you want to join in, you're going to need a gel press, some ink. And if you're going to watch, obviously you're going to need that brew. And look at that sparkle. I'm hoping we can catch that. Again, I've had a few questions of different ways of making orbs. So we're going to have a little bit of, add some glitter and some glam today. We've just had Easter here in the UK. So for those ladies over here and gentlemen, I hope you had a lovely weekend. I hope you had a lovely break. And if you're not somebody who has time off at Easter, I just thought it was about time we had a bit of glam here and some nice zesty colours. What do you think? Shall we have a go? So we're going to start off with, now I'm going to put that where I can see it, because you know me, I'm likely to go off-piste. So I've got myself some Lavinia card, and this is the multifarious card, and Lavinia do it in packs, sorry, excuse me, of 7" by 7". So that's what I'm going to use. Got myself a piece of that. And I've actually just added my black Sharpie line round, and I've got myself a piece of 8 by 8 as well for behind. So that's all what we've done just to start off with. So I'm going to have those ready, and I've got myself the Lavinia Squarely gel press, and that's the one we're going to use. And I've got myself an acrylic plate, just because you know me, I like to stand it on my acrylic plate. The gel press has got a very good memory. I always say it's got a much better memory than I have. So I want to be mindful what I stand it on. And I always put it back in its box as soon as I've finished, because I don't want to put anything on top and damage that surface. You know what it's like when we're crafting. Sometimes we can, I don't know about you, but I pile things up at the side of me, and I never want to put something on top and actually damage this surface. Now, I've got Billy Breyer. He's come out to play today. He's very happy with his little self. And we've also got a couple of elements. So as you know, the elements are perfect for the gel press. They're high in pigment, lots of colour and less water. So we can add more water if we want. So we're going to go with lime punch and russet orange. Like I said, I just thought a couple of sort of real zesty colours. And we're going to start off by just adding some lime punch over the whole of the gel press. So I'm just going to brayer the ink on. Now, a little tip, don't over brayer it. So I now have added enough ink and I've changed direction. If I was to carry on brayering this, my brayer would actually start to take the ink off, and we don't want that. So just be aware, if you somebody who's new to this, and I'm just going to wipe my brayer with my Inky Binky. So if you're somebody who's new, sometimes we almost overdo things because we're worried. So we may over-brayer. Well, that lifts the ink off. So now I'm going to come in with my russet orange, and I just want to add some in the opposite corners. So I'm just going to add a little bit in that corner, ink up again, and a little bit in that corner. I don't want to overdo it. And again, I'm just going to give Billy a bit of a wipe with my Inky Binky, just to try and keep things as clean as I can. I mean, I've finished with him now, but I don't want to put him away dirty. Now, before I actually take my print, I'm going to come in with a stencil, and this is the Laurel Stencil. So if we look at the finished design, I'm going to use it for some stenciling, but also I want to add a little bit on my gel press, just in the background. So I need a piece of copy paper. So I'm just going to reach one of those. And I just want to pop my stencil in the corners. So I'm just almost going to place it down and then give the gel press a bit of a rub. And I'm not overdoing this. And for me, I'm going to turn this round, and I just want to use a different bit of the stencil, and we'll go for that in that corner. And again, I'll just press down. And this is just adding a bit of something extra. And then my fan brush is in my pot of water, as always, and I'm just going to add a few little water splats down the middle, just again to add a little bit of extra interest. You could add brush holes at this point, but I thought for anybody who hasn't got brush holes, it just shows you don't, if you haven't got them, you can just add water. And I'm going to turn my gel press over just for me, because it's easier for me to line up. And then I'm going to press. And also, I just like to watch what happens. And look, you can see the beautiful stencil work. And then we're getting almost that lovely reaction in the middle. Wipe his bottom. We've got to give him a good wipe. And then just peel off. And let's have a look. Look at that. So I just lift that a little bit closer. Look, I've got a stray colour there. I bet that was a bit of brush or something on my gel press from last time. But I have to say, look at that. If you've never done this sort of background before, I mean, how easy was that? Just a couple of colours of ink. We only put water on, and just by adding that stencil just in those corners, I think it just gives a lovely background, and it's just a little bit different. And it will dry really, really quickly. But just for belt and braces, to make sure, I'm just going to come in and we're just going to heat it a little bit. Now I'm going to do some stamping. And again, let me have a look. Wonder if that would be better at the bottom. I think I might go that way. And I'm just going to, I could put some copy paper off here, but I'm just going to put some low tack tape on. And you could use post-it notes. It's whatever's easiest for you. Again, go with what you've got. Just if I forget to do that, I won't be happy. Now, when I was looking, again, because a couple of you messaged and asked for me to use some older stamps, I love that because it gets that I can look at my older stamps. And I was looking through and I found this gorgeous silhouette thistle. And when you look at the state of my stamp, you'll see I've had this for years. But what I love is that when you get these stamps out and you think, oh, I haven't used this for so long, and it almost, for me, it helps my mojo because I get all excited and think, oh, how can I use it? And again, with the acetate, I thought that is just what I need on here. Now, I could put it in the middle, but again, for me, I just think designs look slightly better, just slightly off centre. And I love the way if I can get the taller one just coming into that orange there. but that's just the way my head works. You know, we all do things different ways. So, you know, I always say you just be guided by how you feel. Now, this is a very old stamp, so I'm hoping it's going to stick on my block. I don't know if you're like me, when you've used them for a long time, they can get bits of glitter and all sorts of things on the back. And sometimes they need a bit of a clean. I just put mine in warm soapy water, a little bit of sort of washing up liquid, and then I just let them dry naturally. Because after all, we do use them again and again. We do need to look after them. So nice light tapping, but I want to make sure I've got plenty of ink on. And then again, I'm just stamping on the side because that's the way my head works. So as I say, we'll offset the design and just get that taller one into the orange. So I think we'll go there. Now it is a silhouette, and obviously I am stamping on the card that's already got ink on and water. So do give this VersaFine Clay time to soak in. Now, I know some people say you shouldn't press the stamp, but that just works well for me. If you're the sort of person that can press it down, lift it up, that's great. But you just have to find what's right for you, and what's right for you might not be right for somebody else. So we all just find our own ways. And I'm just going to lift that off, and there we go. That pressing just works well for me. So, as always, I'm just going to wipe my stamp with a damp cloth and then dry it with my Inky Binky and pop it back on the acetate. It's lovely, the number of ladies that have messaged me telling me where you found your stamps when you've lost them. The bottom of the slipper is definitely becoming the most popular. Now, I've got the silhouette foliage stamps. And I must admit, I was torn between these two as which one to use, because this one actually does almost mimic. Sorry, excuse me, I'll just have a quick drink of water. You know what my throat's like. So this one, that's better. So this one almost mimics that Thistle, but I've got to be honest, this one I like. It's a bit like a small of our wildflower. And I know you're not supposed to have favourites, but... So I'm just going to add some of these in at the base here, because I just think it looks a bit bare. And again, I'm going to keep with the black, the Nocturne. And I'm just going to... I want a couple where I've got the grassy bit. Oh, we could have a little bit of second generation in here, look. Always remember your second generation stamping. It does help to just add depth. And I feel as though that ink's there. I almost feel I get better value for money if I use it. I don't know, that might make me sound very sad, but... And I want to get some of this lovely grass. I don't want to just get the heads of these flowers. I have a bit of second generation there. And then let's have a look. Do I need any more? Oh, just a tiny bit, I think. Just the top of those, just peeping up. I think just there. Yeah, I like the shape of that. So again, quick wipe. Now that's all the stamping we're going to do on there. So what I'm going to do is let's give that stamping a bit of a blot. But also, you know me, I'm going to come in with my heat tool, just because A, it'll dry this, but also it will help to take off the sticky on my low tack tape, and my low tack tape will peel off like butter. And then heat from the back just to flatten the card. Perfect. I want to make sure that this is lovely and dry for the next stage. I don't want to smudge that lovely stamping that I'm so happy with. Now, if you want, along the bottom, you can just come in with your fine liner and just add a little line, almost to join everything together, Don't overthink it, just a bit of a... So pretty this, isn't it? So let's add our circle mask. So I'm going to come in with the acetate circle mask. And again, let's have a look what size. You see, that one for me is too small. What do you think? Whereas this one, I think this one definitely has a bit more impact. So again, take your time. Let's just... Oh, look, we could get... I think that looks nice on this one, getting them all in, doesn't it? I'm just going to turn it this way because it's easier for me. And we're going to come in with our russet orange again. Now, I've got plenty of ink on my lid, so with my stencil brush. Now, with the moon mask, we've had quite a few ladies asking about the circle masks and saying how they struggle. The best tip I can give you is always dab some ink off on the mask first. And when you start at the bottom, because that will help give shade. You're always going to, when you start, you'll have more ink on your brush. And I know that is obvious, but sometimes when we're crafting, we're that sort of focused on what we're doing, we don't think of the obvious. So if I start at the base where I've got more ink, it will be darker. And that's fine because it would be darker with shadow. Whereas if I start at the top and it's too dark, I'm then going to have to darken the rest. So I'm going to start at the bottom, and you can either flick outwards or I'm just going to do a circular motion. And I'm going to come all my way around to the top. Then I'm going to pick that ink up from the middle. The ink I dabbed off, I don't want to waste it. Start at the bottom again because I've got more ink on. It will be darker, and then work my way, just lovely circular motions to the top. And I don't want too much here. I just want to give a nice almost orange aura. And there we go. Can you see? And that's just so pretty. And I think it looks lovely because we're just working with the two colours. And as always, bear with me while I just give my mask a wipe and then dry it with my Inky Binky. It's important not to put it away dirty. And then what I'm going to do is just add a little bit more green at the bottom, just a little behind my grasses. And I'm going to bring in my hill masks, and I'm not actually going to almost do the shape of the mask, but I just want to use it to protect this area here. So again, with my green and dabbing my brush in the lid, I just want to wear, and I'm just going to use the mask here almost as a protector. Just want to flick a little bit of, and that's why it's important, a little bit of ink, and that's why it's important my stamps, the area I've stamped, I don't want it to smudge. And the beauty of it is when I bring this green in, you'll still be able to see that lovely stencil work that we did on the gel press. But I just want to add a little bit more green here. And you won't particularly notice it, but for me it just gives more of a green, and then my orange hue shows up more there. Often it's these little touches that aren't that obvious, but for me, if you don't do them, so I think what we'll do now is we'll just add some stencil work in the corners. So I just need to clean that ink off my stencil. Now, normally at home, I'd make another design with it. But for speed here, I end up with so many backgrounds. Now, do be aware when you've got a stencil like this, it has these gorgeous areas, but they are very delicate. So if you notice, I'm patting my stencil dry, and it's important I show you this. Don't rub, because you may just catch these and bend them backwards. So with a stencil like this, it's important to get used to sort of patting it dry. So what we'll do is we'll come in with our backing card first, and we're going to go corner to corner, and we're coming in with our line punch again. So I want to choose an area, and I want to be mindful. I want it to be a nice shape coming in this way, but I don't want to get either edge on. Can you see? You know what I'm like, I get so carried away with what I'm doing, I forget that you're watching. I just merrily chat with you. So ink up, and I want it darker in the corner, so I'm quite happy putting the ink straight on here. But then, as I get nearer the edges here, don't go over that edge, we're going to have a lighter touch. So I'm literally tickling now. Tickle, 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 and lift up. And that's given us one corner. So we'll whiz it round, and we'll use the same piece. So we'll have it sort of, let me straighten that one up, I don't want to catch it. So we'll go for, I think, that. And again, I'm holding it down, and more pressure in the corner, more ink, and then as I come further in, that nice little tickle. And so that's given us that lovely corner ready. Now, to be honest, you could actually leave it like that. Let me just move that so you can see it. You could leave it like that if you wanted. I mean, I like to add the extra stenciling here, but should you wish, I mean, I think that would be a lovely design. Maybe just a few little green splats here with ink. So there's one idea, actually leaving it at this stage. I'm going to add a little bit more, just because I can. So we'll come in again with this one. Now again, I want this lighter, so I'm not going to ink up. I'm going to see if there's enough ink actually left on this stencil. Because again, you've got some ink on the stencil. So by using your brush now, you're helping to clean the stencil. And we just want it nice and light. So let's see. Oh yes, that's enough. I'm happy with that. So see if we can do the same here. And again, let's face it, this you're cleaning the stencil and you're saving ink, because we haven't had to re-ink. And it's a nice gentle touch. Yes. Just put the lid on that, and then I don't put my arm in it. So let's bring our background in. There we go. So we've got the nice light stencil work look. Now, if you're really clever, look, you can actually match these up. How about that? It's a stroke of good luck, isn't it? So again, it's just another idea for you. Now, I just need to be mindful there's some ink on here. So I'll wipe that with my wet cloth. So what we've got now is we just want a few little finishing touches. And we're going to bring in our chalk pastel pencils. And I'm just going to use a couple of colours. And because we've got the gorgeous moon here, I don't want to just go in with white. So I'm thinking, because I'm going sort of oranges and greens, let's go in with an orange. And I just want to add a bit of an orange hue first. And again, it's just another way. I like to show you as many different ideas as I can, because automatically we would just go in with the white. So what I'm thinking is, and again, I'm just smudging it with my finger just to fix it. And we'll add a bit of an orange hue to these gorgeous flowers here. And as I say, it's just a bit of another sort of more of an arty dimension, bringing in that lovely orange. And again, a quick smudge, maybe just a bit on here, just to bring in those orangey tones. And then if I bring in, let me just, my gel pen. Do that. I use the back of my card so much. We can add just the little white highlight as we would with our gel pen, just on top of the orange, so it's sort of working with the orange. And we'll add a few on here. So we can use the two together, maybe a few down the side. And a few on our grasses. So it's that combination of using the two together. And then I'm going to come in with my white and just add a little bit to accentuate the moon. And again, quick smudge. But I'm thinking the moon, we want a bit more pizzazz with that, don't we? So let's bring in our pan pastel, this beautiful white fine pearl. And if we just use our applicator, and let's add a bit of sparkle around the moon. Yeah. That's nice. So we'll pop that over there. And then we want to add a little bit of shade. So let's bring in our black pan pastel. Just being mindful of the lid here that I haven't put it on my stamps. And what we're going to do is down these two edges, just gently add a little bit. Now you could use charcoal pencil if you have them. And I'm just using a cotton bud here. You could use your finger. I'm trying to be mindful with the black to use a cotton bud so that I don't get my fingers too dirty and then put them on the rest of the design. And you can see the difference already. We're starting. This is starting to look that it's more 3D. And again, I'm smudging this way because I want it darker in this corner. I really want to accentuate that corner. So we can just go a little bit darker. And I'm just going to add a little bit here. Just to almost add a little bit shade to the moon. I don't want much. And if you're worried that you don't like the black, come back in with your orange and add a little more orange. This is just a biodegradable cotton bud. And the beauty of it is I have two ends, look, one for the black pan pastel, chalk pastel pencil and one for the orange. And again, for me, can you see, that just helps make this 3D effect. And again, it's very quick and easy, but just these little things that just add more dimension to your cards, your designs. So I'm going to file those on the floor like I do. So that's our design so far. And again, you could leave it like this if you wanted. But I thought we'd add some orbs. And it's just showing you different ways of making the orbs. Now, she says as she puts her chalk pastel pencils away, one way of making orbs is to do a circle with your chalk pastel pencil and put a little white gel dot in the middle. But when I did that on here, can you see it didn't show up that well because we've got a gel press background? So I sort of was thinking, how else can I do it? That works lovely on ink, but almost it wasn't showing up for me on here. So I thought, well, let's have a try with our Mica Minerals. So I've got some silver pearl here. And I'm just going to use one of those lovely coffee sticks from when I've had my lovely brew. And I'm just going to put a little bit on my mat and add some water to it. Just want the right sort of consistency to paint. I think I need just a tiny bit more mica. And again, I love this product. If you've not used it before, you can stamp with your Versa mark, your sticky ink, and then brush it over. That's beautiful, especially on sentiment stamps in backgrounds. You can paint with it. We're going to add some splats with it as well. Really, really lovely product. You can add it to your ink that you're painting with, and it'll just give it almost like a sparkly effect. What you'll find as well, if you clean your paintbrush in the water pot, everything you paint after that almost has a sparkly effect. So let's add ourselves some white dots where we want some orbs. So we'll have one there. Let's go for one there. One there. Don't want to overcook it. One there, and just a little one here. And then I'm going to come in with the stencil called White Orbs, you see. Obviously, good name. Now, I could just paint this around where I've put my little dots, but I just find the White Orb stencil just helps me a little bit. And so I just want to add this Mica Minerals and Water, just to get that sort of shape. And we'll have another one here. Now, like I say, you can happily do it freehand for me. And I like the raised edge it gives me. Now I want a little one down here. And the beauty of it is I've got different sizes, look. And I'm being mindful not to put my stencil where I've already painted. So I'm just going to turn it round. And then just add another one here. Should go for that size there, I think. And again, there are, as I say, lots of different ways of doing this. And the idea is just to give you different ideas. Just want to drop more water in that. And again, your stencil will just wipe clean. So if I bring that up for you to see, you see how you've got the orbs? Now it might be, for you, these are too definite. They certainly are for me. That edge is just too, I don't like the fact it's so definite. So what I tend to do is come in with my white, I sort of smudge the edge and then just come in with my white pan pastel, just to give more of a glow around it. And it just smudges that edge a little. And so for me, it's the combination of the two. I think I like the thing of the smudgy edges, but again, it's really whatever you like. I mean, as I say, we're all different. There we go. And I'm actually just going to add a little bit more of that round the moon here, just to give that sort of glow. And then what I am going to do with this here that's left, just I've got my fan brush in my water pot, so I'm going to pick that up and just add some splats, and it'll just help to create that whole design. And then also going to bring in the background we made, and I think I've just got enough left to add a few on the corners here. And when these dry, they are so shiny. But I must admit, it's quite funny. I do get them everywhere. When I look underneath on my camera here, it's so funny. It's covered in these lovely white pearly splats. So a quick wipe up there. pretty. Nobody would ever know. So if I put the two together, I'll stick it later when it's dry. And let's have a look at what we've got. And again, I've purposely left this without a sentiment because I thought it would be a lovely birthday card, new home, get well soon, or even just best wishes, just thinking of you type of card. I'm going to put that to one side and let's bring in the original. See if we can get them both on. Maybe just sort of. I think they need to breathe in a bit, don't you? We sort of get the idea, don't we? So I hope that's given you a few ideas. Maybe just something a bit different that you haven't done before. And I hope you have a go at that gel press. Honestly, such a simple background. When I was demonstrating the other week at Port Sunlight Show, so many ladies were saying that they'd bought the gel press but not used it. So please, I do urge you, I'd love to encourage you to get the gel press out and have a go. I mean, really, that was such a simple background. You know, and if you're new to it, maybe rewatch the video, maybe craft along with me. Because, you know, honestly, that was no skill required. And once you've got it, honestly, you'll be flying. You'll be using it again and again and again. So you take care, everybody. Thank you for your lovely comments and your feedback. I really appreciate it. Have a good week, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.